The Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey, we growing, we know it.
Barbados, good evening, the world. This is the Marcia Weekes Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. This is the national flag of Barbados, and you just heard the national anthem of Barbados, and it matters to us. Our emblems matter. The emblems matter. We are celebrating Barbados. We are proud of this country. If you're proud of Barbados, if you're proud to be a Bajan, let me see hands up in the comment section. Come on, chat. You proud to be a Bajan? Let me see the thumbs going up. Listen, we hot tonight. Fire tonight. Oh my goodness, on tonight's show. While you're putting up your thumbs up, I need to see thumbs up like crazy in the chat. Come on, chat, in the comment section. Thumbs up. You proud to be a Bajan? Put the thumbs up. Put the thumbs up. We can put the rag up online, but we can put the thumbs up. It is a wonderful day. This is a wonderful day. It's Sunday, May the 3rd, 7:05 p.m. And let me tell you something. We are happy to be alive. Right, Mavis? We're happy to be alive. We are happy to be alive. Annette Brown is proud to be a Bajan. Yes. I tell you, they're coming in. They're coming in. The Teroni. Everybody, let me tell you, we have an amazing show, Lucinda. Yeah, we have an amazing show that is set coming to you tonight live. Provocative, I will tell you, lots to think about. I know they're going to be taking notes. But tonight we are going to do our on the radar. So there are some issues that we're keeping at the forefront of our minds, okay? One for sure is that Immigration and Citizenship Bill, because we're going to look at some of the challenges with that. For sure, I know Dr. Ferdinand, who did an amazing job on Friday night, touched on it, but we're going to go a little tip deeper into it. Hopefully we can get Miss McLean back. I don't know if she's back. She's here. Get her back with us so she can delve into that with us a little bit more. Yes, so we're going to look at that. Then we're going to look at what's happening in South Africa. We're going all across. Listen, this is, we link the Caribbean and the diaspora. So we're going to South Africa and look at some of their immigration issues that they're having there and how they're dealing with that. Yes. And we're going to just mention Namibia. They have a success story. We're going to mention Namibia tonight. Look, listen, man. People, they don't stop putting up the thumbs up pages, man. I tell you, I love it. And of course, we at 7:30, we have a whole thing planned for you all tonight. Oh, goodness. Time is going. 7:30, Carifesta Files. I have some stuff to share with you all. Get ready. Get ready. We are now talking about that $14.1 million. So we're finished at the 5.8 and we called for the police or the auditor last week. We're now on the $14.1 million. Those are the questions we're asking about tonight. You gotta have to stick around. And then Mr. Jason Phillips is going to join us. And you know, when he comes, it's always exciting. Jason is such a diligent candidate, and he's still working in St. Peter. He's going to talk to us generally. We're going to have a discussion about the beach access and development and how that's impacting Barbadians. We're going to take a look at that as well. And then there is something brand new. You have to be at the edge of your seat for this one. I'm calling it the Barbados Epstein series. You know who was Jeffrey Epstein? Seem like we have something like that running in Barbados. We are going to talk as much as I can talk on here in code before they send the police for me and charge me. But I want to tell you that I'm not going to be telling you anything that's a lie. All right? I might not be able to call names, but I'm telling you, get ready, Barbados. Get ready. We're going to delve in, and I'm doing it as a series as well. So this is the first one because it's so much information. I have to break it up, right? So that's what we have lined up for you tonight. And at 9 o'clock, as per usual, you call in, right? We're ready. The people's phone and the people's number. We're going to be ready for you to call in. We are ready. Hope you had a great Sunday. Let me just go to the chat quickly. Judith Jilks, you had a great Sunday. Great Sunday dinner. Maybe it's Lashley. Hey, Carol, Teroni. And let me tell you, when you have people like Judy Jilks and support, Judy was on from 1:28 p.m. She signed on. I tell you, Marcia Miller from 3:50 telling people to like and share. Listen, when I come on, I'm so encouraged, maybe Lashley, because you guys give me that encouragement. You want to be here. You care about your country. Yeah, you're ready for the education, right, Calendar? Andrew, you're ready for the motivation, the mobilization, and the agitation, right, Mildred? Yes, Ronald Archer and Diana and Matthew B. Lori Bob. Woo! I'm hitting it, Lori. I'm hitting those notes, girl. Annette Brewster, Beverly Prescott, Patrick, Calendar 2463. It's supposed to just be 246, so you get 2463 on it. Hey, Sharon girl, how is Canada going? Good night, Barbados. Bimbados. On it, yes, man. Aaron. Oh goodness, I'm calling back some of these names again. Oh wow, everybody just saying how much they love Barbados. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. All Celia. Hey, Celia. Aaron Hunt. Hey, I said that already. Sonia Perch. I hope I greeted everybody because I'm trying to rush through. Patrick. Ooh, that sounds good. That's my kind of food, girl. Patrick. Grown provisions and pink salmon. Oh Lord. Yes, yes. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, it's time for Barbados to rise. Well, before we jump into all that we have to talk about tonight, because tonight is going to be amazing. You need to like and share. This is a time that you send it in your chats. Yes, trust me, they don't want us to have this episode here tonight. They don't want us to have this episode tonight, but we're having this episode tonight. This show is happening tonight. All right. I can't tell you all that happened behind the scenes, but all is well with me. Let the devil know that he didn't expect that I would be on here tonight with all the things that he's doing. But hey, we know as my husband, we just prayed. He said the devil not equal to God. Don't try to put yourself on the same plane with God. You just a fallen angel, though. You just a little fallen angel. Yeah. You are just a fallen angel. You're under our feet. Everybody agree with me. Who's going to be praying for me throughout the show? Pray for me throughout the show, please. Yeah, they didn't want me to come on tonight. But we're going to talk out the things tonight, okay? And still keep me out of jail. But we're going to talk out as much as I can talk out tonight. But just know when I tell you something, it is so. Because I would have done the checks already, all right? And if it is not so, if I was wrong, I'm going to come back and tell you that I'm wrong. Because I can be wrong. But as far as I know, I would have done my checks already. And I come and sit before you here. I'm going to do my best to tell you the truth. Yeah? Yeah? I can't do that like other people. Vihoy. Yeah? Yeah, Dr. Ferdinand. How you doing? Thank you so much for doing an amazing job on Friday nights. Yeah? Thumbs up for Dr. Ferdinand. God bless you. So, tonight, folks, let's jump right to Gospel Fest. Let me just take a quick moment and let everybody know, folks, we have the bus. We have the bus. What's happening? Gospel Fest, Farley Hill, May 31st. Gospel Fest 2026 bus excursion. We have the bus, and all that you have to do, pack your picnic basket, backpack some food. All right? You don't have food, we will share. But get down to Independence Square, right? At 12:30. 12:30 Independence Square, 12:30, May 31st, 12:30. And we're heading to Farley Hill. It's such a beautiful place, isn't it? And the music is going to be beautiful. You're going to see the beautiful young people, doing their ministry performances. It's going to be really, really, really. Gospel Fest is usually off the chain, period. But our bus is leaving Independence Square at 12:30 in the day. Okay. 12:30. Listen, don't be like the last time I'm becoming late and calling me to hold on the bus. We're going to leave you and let you hang on the window. All right? Bring your food and just walk with a donation. We're doing this as family. You know how we do it. No big stress on anybody. Walk with a donation. Everybody walk with a donation, man. A little bit, much. All right. We are going to ask you to RSVP by Monday, May the 26th. Right? Monday, May the 26th. Right, is when you need to RSVP. Tell me, Marcia, leave a seat for me on the bus. Give me your name. You can bring your family. Let's just go together. If we outgrow, if we outnumber the bus, or we have more than the seats that we have, then we will have to quickly get another bus. So this is why it's important for you to call ahead. Tell me, Marcia, I am going to Farley Hill, right? Yeah. So, wait, they want me to bring Jamaican food? I will try. Teroni want me to bring? I'm going to try my best. Oh, Lord. You all love those festivals, the Jamaican festivals. So, I will do my best once I can keep them warm. I don't like to have them cold. So, once I can keep them warm, I'll try to get some for you. Yeah. All righty. Okay, so folks, we are going to go right into On the Radar. We're moving in on the radar. And on the radar tonight, we are talking about immigration. And we're going to jump right in it. And I know Dave has some images there that I want on the screen. So, folks, 14,758 persons in 6 months. That's what Minister Nichols is saying to us. Tonight on the radar, we are dealing with this revelation from Gregory Nichols, Minister Gregory Nichols, that has raised major national questions. Since October 1st, 2025, 14,758 Caribbean nationals from Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have moved to Barbados under the CARICOM free movement arrangement. Now, he's saying not all of them will stay permanently, but in those 6 months, they're in the country right now. He doesn't know if they're going to stay permanently. Almost 15,000 people in just 6.5 months. At the same time, Anthony Wood, a well-noted economist, Anthony Wood, reminds us that our economic growth has slowed from 2.6% to 1.7%. Are we aware of this? Unemployment, you remember? They were saying unemployment was 6.1%. It has now risen to 7.2%. So tonight we're asking, is Barbados economically ready? If our economic growth has slowed down, this is their numbers, not ours. Their numbers. Economic growth has slowed down. Unemployment has risen. Rate has risen. Are we economically ready? What's the chat saying? Yeah, VOI said that's a lot of people in 6 months. Yeah. I agree with you, VOI. The economic growth has been slow for a long time, but I believe they cooked the figures just before elections, and now the elections are finished, so now they're allowing it to be what it is. It has been slow for a long time. Are we socially ready? Are we legally ready? And who is protecting the interests of Barbadians while still honoring regional commitments? The numbers matter. Because when you have immigration policy, we can see from South Africa, which we're going to look at a little later on. You know what? It doesn't happen in a vacuum, you know. Nearly 15,000 people coming into Barbados. It's going to affect jobs. You agree? Jobs will be affected. Housing, healthcare. Can you imagine the QEH dealing with another 15,000 people? This is madness. You can imagine the QEH dealing with another 15,000 people when people were already laying down on the ground. People out there for 3 days and cannot see a doctor. How? What's going to happen to them if they get sick in this country? 15,000 people. Are these people crazy? Education. There are people who have migrated to Barbados with their children and they're not even in school. Facts. I'm telling you facts. Transportation system. We ready for 15,000 people in 6 months? What is going to happen in a year? Oh my God. What about national insurance? What about crime prevention? And social cohesion for all of us to be able to gel together. Are they thinking about these things? Let me see what the chat is saying. Yeah? I don't understand. Are you guys sharing this up? Because I don't know if we understand what is going on in this beautiful country here. What is going on in this beautiful country here? Right? And all of this is happening at the same time. Barbados is passing a new Immigration and Citizenship Bill. If we have thousands entering Barbados, what are the systems that we have in place for background checks? We can't even handle the criminals we have right here, right now. The police, we were just told the other night by someone who knows that the police is understaffed by hundreds. He was said he's being conservative to say over 100 police officers short. Where are the background checks? Who is going to verify the skills of these people when they come in? Who's going to vet criminals? Where's the criminal vetting? Who is tracking all of this? Who is ensuring that people who enter legally don't become undocumented? Do you really think we have the facility to do that? Do you think that I know we have the capability, but do we have the facility? Are we set up for that? Are we prepared for 30,000 people just in this year? 15,000 came in 6 months. It's safe to say we might get another 15,000, especially with this new Immigration and Citizenship Bill. How do you feel about Barbadians? What happens if jobs dry up? 15,000 people in 6 months. What happens if jobs dry up? What happens if 1,000 cannot find legal employment. Bajans, what are your thoughts about all of this? Yeah, I agree. They are mad. In Jamaica, we say that they're mad like shad. They're mad. This is crazy. Did you all know about these 15,000 people? Anybody knew about the 15,000 people in Barbados? Ah, Picard. I was about to say that Jamaica, they're here in their numbers, and they're missing from that data. Jamaica is missing from that data. Jamaica is missing. And all of this is they are preparing. All they do is seek, everything they do is to seek this red and not ready government. This red and not ready government. What they do, everything they do is for them to remain in power. But let me move along quickly because my time is going. But this is such a serious issue. We have to come back to this. We have to come back to this. Then I'm sure you remember that we spoke to you about the Immigration and Citizenship Bill, where there was a section in there about the revocation of citizenship, right? Do you know it is still in the same bill that they passed? In the same way. Nothing is changed about it. Now, I have to say this and be clear that in most citizenship bill, you will have a clause about revocation of citizenship. But what you're not going to have are these broad terms for a lot of countries. Okay? So here are the broad terms. Here are the broad terms. The new citizenship law reportedly includes the language public good, national security. Make note of that. Public good, national security. And this has to do with the revocation of citizenship. But the question is, who defines those terms? What do you mean by public good, Minister? What is national security? Now, we know that effectively in Barbados, there is a one-party dominance, parliamentary dominance. We know that. We know that. So who checks the minister? Who checks the minister? The minister, according to this new bill, if you're a naturalized citizen, like myself, and the government believes that what I'm engaged in, it's not for public good, and it challenges national security, they could revoke my citizenship. Did you all know that? When I put it out online, some people are laughing. They said they can't wait for the bill to pass for them to take my citizenship from me. Because they know, those red and ready people, they know why these bills are passed. So the minister determines public good. So if they think somebody who comes wasn't born here, become naturalized citizen, and they determine, according to the minister, that what that person is engaged in, it's not for the public good, it challenges national security, your citizenship can be revoked. And the question is, who checks that minister? most of these, everything, they leave it at the minister. The minister has all this power all of a sudden. So here's a question. Could a politically outspoken immigrant, a naturalized citizen, a whistleblower, an activist, a journalist, ever be labeled against the public good? A politically outspoken immigrant, a naturalized citizen, a whistleblower, an activist, a journalist, could it be possible that they could be ever be labeled against the public good? Barbados, are those terms too broad? Public good, national security. But yet still they're inviting all these people here. What they need to know. Oh my goodness. My goodness. What are your thoughts on that, chat? Yeah. Who selects the ministers? Yeah. So they have a plan afoot. Oh my goodness. Guys, we have to keep watching this one. We need to keep watching this bill. I am telling you. They know I've been sounding the alarm. You can't say I never said it. I've been telling you to watch this. Who is going to check that minister? Who is going to check Gregory Nichols? Gregory Nichols, who he and I, we had a legal issue. I'm being straight up, honest, and talking to you straight. He is the minister that's in charge of this, of the immigration and all of that. I told my husband, they're sitting down waiting. They're sitting down waiting. They're waiting. They're watching the show and you're waiting. You could watch all you want and take all your notes. I am educating the people and letting them know what your intent is. We are letting them know what your intent is. I'm already speaking to lawyers. I'm already speaking to lawyers. You could sit down and you could take all the notes you want to take from the show. Take it. And then they want to talk about Donald Trump. And you worse than him. This red and ready crew down here. You need to mind your own business inside. Mind your own business in your red and ready crew. I'm coming to you a little later when we touch on the Barbados Epstein Red series, the Epstein Red series. I'm going to touch on that. Nasty. Nasty in attitude and in actions. I said it. Write it down in the notes too that I say the red and ready crew are nasty. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. Yeah. So I want you to pay attention to this though, but let me just quickly move along before I get into the Barbados, the Beige and Epstein too early. So in a few months, guys, so thousands of graduates from the University of the West Indies, Cable campus, and our other institutions, right, will enter the labor market. So we ask, if unemployment is already rising, where will these jobs come from for these people? Because we could project and say possibly in a year, you might have 30,000 people here. Are these people crazy? Just even think about the hospital. You know that they lose a screw. Our Barbadian youth, are they being displaced at the lower end of the market? The job market? What about housing demand? The wages, are they suppressing the wages? And I mentioned all the public services that are being stretched. And I just want to end, I'm Jamaican born, so I'm not here attacking our Caribbean brothers and sisters. We are talking here about planning. We're talking always about accountability, yes? This is about whether Barbados has the jobs. Real talk. Do we have the jobs? Do we have the housing? Do we have the schools? Do we have the healthcare? Do we have the infrastructure? The immigration safeguards? Do we have that? Because what is happening rapidly. This migration is rapid, people. You think the PM lick her head? You think she lick her head? We have to keep watching Barbados. 15,000, approximately 15,000 migrants in 6 months. And you're saying you don't know, there's some might be staying temporarily, some permanent. You don't even know. Look at what is happening in South Africa. Look at what is happening. There are marches in Johannesburg and Pretoria and Durban. Right? And they are against illegal immigration. And they're asking, the protesters in South Africa asking for stronger border controls, deportation of undocumented migrants, crackdowns on illegal employment, right? And all of these different things. I don't have time to go into it, but we're going to pick up on this with South Africa, because even though our situation is different, I mean, the point is that this become a warning for Barbados. There are lessons from South Africa. And the lessons that it's not that immigrants are a problem, It's not that immigrants are the problem. That's not the lesson that we are learning from South Africa. The lesson is about planning. When our governments fail to plan immigration, jobs, housing, security, how do we integrate social cohesion? What's going to happen? We're going to have public frustration, social division, the same, all that you see happening in South Africa. Barbados, you have to be careful. How many more persons are they going to take into this country? We don't even have the stats for Jamaica. That's just those 3 countries. If Gregory Nichols is correct, it's his numbers. Labor tensions. Yeah. So South Africa, what is South Africa showing us? South Africa is showing us that when economic pressure, unemployment, migration, and all of those things combined, of course, along with public frustration, right? What is going to happen? Just the crisis that you're seeing right there in South Africa. We're not South Africa. But if we are smart, we study the warning signs before that happens. How are we managing this migration system? Gregory Nichols, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, How are we managing this migration system? Or is it that you are going to then wait until people get frustrated, the public gets frustrated, then you want to address it? Correct. Cheaper labor for business owners. So what's going to happen? This is what I'm saying. What will happen to the students from UE and from the Polytechnic and from BCC and from all these other places that you tell the children to go and get an education, and then they bring 15,000 people here in 6 months, and they give them cheap and they get labor, cheap labor. This is not a joking thing, you know. Remember that this Sunday, May the 3rd, that we issued the warning right here on the Marcia Weekes Show, and then they're going to turn around and say Bajans don't like foreigners. It is true, you take a little time to warm up to foreigners, but not that you don't like foreigners. But when you have this kind of mismanagement of immigration occurring, then those are the possibilities that could happen. But I have taken up a lot of the time on that, and I can see the comments coming in, and I'm going to ask everybody to get ready to at 9 o'clock to call in, right? I want you to call in at 9 o'clock. All right, so we're going to go into right now the Carifesta files. Okay. We're going to go into the Carifesta files, and we're at episode 4. Who remember what we dealt with in episode 3? I wouldn't even bother to ask you all. Tonight, we are asking about this $14.1 million question. Remember, they said they spent over 35 million. Okay, 800% increase in the budget. And so there's an alarm. And last week we are going through the spending, what they said that they spent. We're going through that carefully. So last week we looked at the $5.8 million. All right, get your pen and paper again. Listen, this show is not a gossip show, you know. This is an educational show. We're motivating, we're mobilizing, and we're agitating. You understand? And we're going to talk about the hard things on here. We're going to ask hard questions on here. And there is a big $14.1 million hard question. Okay? We are following the money. If you're following the money with me, give me a thumbs up. Don't lose him now, you know. Don't because some of you, once we get into numbers, you get turned off. And they know that. They know that people are not going to go and look in the numbers. They were supposed to put out these bogus figures that did not add up in the newspaper. There's nobody up there at the National Carroll Foundation that can tell me that those figures added up, that they put out there. Nobody at that National Carroll Foundation. All of them is a bunch of mess. Okay? But they put out those figures and they thought that we were going to forget them. Well, we are not. We're doing it piece by piece. I got 10 episodes. We're at number 4. We are not going to forget it. We ask who paid for what. We ask who was covered under the 5.8 million for accommodation, airfare, and per diem. We ask that. But tonight we move deeper. Okay? We are investigating the biggest line item of all, $14.1 million. They said they gave us a big banner. No breakdown, you know. No breakdown. This Minister of Culture, Mayor Motley, the CEO of the National Cultural Foundation, Carol Roberts, gave us no breakdown. They just gave us a banner. It's a banner. 14.1 million. These people deal, all they're dealing is millions. Millions, because it's not their money. They said it's institutional expenditure. So tonight we are asking, institutional expenditure, what was built? Prime Minister Mayor Motley, Carol Roberts, who paid? Who paid for it? Who benefited? We're told that this 4.1 million was spent under what they're calling this institutional expenditure. Normally that includes what? Props, the costumes. Listen, you know. And when you think of this 4.1 million, think of the hospital. Think of the hospital. Just think of the hospital. What we could do with that at the hospital. Props, costumes, electrical installations, fixtures, furniture, booths, village build out. Sounds impressive, right? But I sat here, did some last week and did some investigation today as well. And what I found is that there are 3 major infrastructure projects they are claiming to be connected with Carifesta. The first project is what everybody call the Fowl Coop. This is supposed to be the Barbados National Performing Arts Center. When you pass there, that looks like a performing arts center to you? Now, they say that this is phase 1. It is built on 85,000 square feet. But after Carifesta, we've spent $14.1 million. And it is still phase 1, still unfinished. How much money was spent on that? How much money was spent on that structure? Now, this structure here, there's a Sir David Adjaye from Adjaye Associates. Apparently, the building was designed by him. You would not believe. I went and I started to research on Sir David Adjaye and Adjaye Associates. He's a Ghanaian, right? Architect. A Ghanaian architect who, yes, his name has been associated with some very prestigious buildings, etc. But important to note that there is this particular man, his name is also involved in some controversy. And that has to do with, in Ghana, there's something called the National Cathedral of Ghana, right? And he was the one who was supposed to design this thing. And right now, the Ghana government has launched scrutiny and investigation around this unbuilt cathedral project. There have been large sums spent This is according to Ghana. Ghana News in Ghana. You can check it out. This is what is being alleged here. There are allegations that Ajay Associates, that's building the Folco, that the National Cathedral of Ghana, and I don't know if they remember when we were in Ghana, they were talking about this, and this National Cathedral was supposed to be built, and there was so much controversy around it. That would have been years ago. We were in Ghana. The construction of this National Cathedral has been stalled. Right? And there are lots of questions, audit questions, they're alleging around consultancy payments that involves the same architect that the government used, contracted for this National Performing Arts Center. By the way, they were told that this was going to be built. He was going to build it in 6 weeks. Hey. 6 weeks. So we have lots of questions to ask the Barbados government. How did you select Ajay Associates? Was it a competitive process? Was it through the cabinet? Was it a direct appointment by someone? How did you choose this person? How much was paid to Ajay Associates or related consultants? Read that structure, the unfinished structure. Now, if a regular person, I'm not a journalist, I'm a regular person, could go and find this information, that all of this, there are more controversies surrounding him, but they're not related to building, to construction. So concerning allegations about his character and sexual harassment and etc. I won't go into that because it doesn't have to do with building. But lots of public controversy surrounding this man since 2023. What due diligence was done before the government of Barbados engaged this firm? Prime Minister Mia Mottley, you travel all the time. You go to Africa. Were you the one who found him? I'm asking you a question. Was there any due diligence done before he was engaged? Because that would affect, if what he did in Ghana is what is happening here, our goose cook. Prime Minister Mia Mottley, Carol Roberts, what safeguards were put in place to prevent cost overruns, stalled infrastructure, stalled? The question is, did you pay for the architecture or were you just wanting a brand name person? He has global acclaim and he's done all of these different things, but there is the Ghana Cathedral scrutiny. Those allegations are all on the internet. All right. We're gonna continue this. This was supposed to be done in 6 weeks. He was supposed to build He was supposed, all of that, it was supposed to happen in 6 weeks. You believe that? You think that, and they believe that? You believe that they actually believe that? They could have built that in 6 weeks? Oh my goodness. Jason is here. Jason, you're gonna have to give me a couple more minutes. Let me try to finish this up. Oh my goodness, this is something else. Barbados, once again. Then we're now at the Carifesta village in Waterford. This is supposed to be a central festival hub. If you go online, you look at it. Now, if you visit that site, what you're going to see, and I guarantee you, there's no permanent stage there. There's no permanent seating, no permanent lighting. You still have to fly in equipment. And we showed you that the floor is already breaking apart. Is this a completed cultural hub? What are we supposed to do there that we can't do anywhere else? It is a tent with flooring. Don't forget, we're talking about the $14.1 million supposed to be institutional expenses, the legacy that they're supposed to be leaving. Is this a completed cultural hub? Or is this another unfinished shell? Now, online, I noted that they included the Richard Stout Amphitheater. But I remember sitting here and reading that Carol Roberts was completing the, they were doing up the Richard Stout Amphitheater for Cropova. So that work began before Carifesta. So you need to go and correct what you all have online, because none of us buying that. Based on what you said to us about the Richard Stout Amphitheater, wasn't that done before Cropova? Tell me if I'm wrong, chat, comment section, let me know. Am I wrong? And was this counted in that $14.1 million? Was it funded separately? Now, as I take a 4 more minutes to go through this, because this will hurt your head. Here's the question: who paid? What we found, 3 sources is what we found. The government of Barbados, that means you and I, taxes, taxpayers' money. Then they took a loan, a CAF loan, 1 million US. And there was a donation from CIBC Caribbean for 1 million, Barbados 1 million. But I want you to realize that the CAF money was not a grant, it was a loan. And we know that the loan must be repaid. But look at it, it's an unfinished building that we're looking at. Structure, not a building, a structure, unfinished. And that loan was taken specifically for that. What are the terms of this loan, Prime Minister Mayor Motley? We don't know these things. There's no freedom of information laws here. What is the interest rate of this loan? Over how many years? Which ministry carries this debt? And how much government money was added up on top of that? And listen, folks, listen, that's not all yet, you know. Listen, that is not all as yet. I don't know if they think we're idiots. Did you know that the Waterford land, it would appear, well, let me ask the government the question. Did you purchase that land? Prime Minister Mia Mottley, you are and were the Minister of Culture. Did you purchase the land that you claim to build this cultural hub as a legacy? You say that is a legacy, a tent, a beautiful tent with floors that are beautiful just on looking on it. But as soon as the rain fell and people walk on it 3 times, the tiles were coming up. That is what you were calling a cultural hub, a shell. And it's supposed to be a legacy, and we must be happy about it. The land that you put that on, did you purchase it? Was it leased? Minister of Culture? License? Is there a sale agreement anywhere? So yours, based on what we're seeing online, even CBC reported it. They're in the process of purchasing the land. So you're telling me you built a legacy for Barbados on land, the ownership of land that was not fully finalized, land ownership that was not fully finalized. So what remains to us? What if that does not go through? Where is this cultural hub? Why you guys won't stop telling people fibs? Talking about you leave this legacy, unfinished buildings, structures. Who you fooling? Look at the Carifesta that went before. Let's look at 2017. That was just here. School halls were refurbished. Go and look at them. Go look at Combermere. Go look at Combermere. That structure is still there, and the hall is still refurbished. The infrastructure is still there. That's a proper hall. Combermere is a proper hall. Stage, backdrop, big screens. I think the screen is on both sides, or it drops down. I can't try to remember. Beautiful. Go to Alexandra School and see a hall. Look at Daphne Joseph Hackett, state of the art. Go and look at that. It is small, yes, but beautiful. That is a legacy. That Falcoop is not legacy. Look at the improvements at the gymnasium. Those improvements were made since the last Carifesta. Those assets still visible today. What remains? Not renderings, not press conferences, not artist impressions. What remains? We're told that this is legacy. We're told that this is investment. We're told about this institutional development. Then show the people the institutions. Show them. Show us what was built. Show us what is complete. Show us what Barbados owns. After you spend $14.1 million. Show us who got the contracts. Show us how much debt remains. You spend $14.1 million, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. The people deserve more than headlines and lies on the internet. Lies. We deserve the truth. And we're not going to give up on it. We're not going to give up. This is nonsense. But they want us to believe that they left us a legacy. Wow. Well, Jason is here, and I took six minutes of his time. And I'm gonna let him loose on you all. Yes, and he's gonna get back his time. He knows I'm gonna give him back his time, but I had a lot to do in this short space of time, right? This segment is yeah, we had a lot to do, but Jason is going to be with us now, and what he is looking at, he's looking at beach access. And you know, this has been a pet peeve of his for a long time, and there is an article that he and I read today, and the article was written. It's called "That Beach Ain't Mine: The Quiet and Persistent Enclosure of the Barbadian Horizon." And I don't know if Dave can put that up on the screen, because we want to give the credit where credit is due. So let me just bring yes, and thank you, the Crossroads Barbados. Okay, so you can go and search for this. That's where the original document is, the article is. And so, but we want to give them the credit for it. Okay, so, and the website is you see the website there. It's kind of hard to call it, but you can take a screenshot of it. All right. Mr. Phillips, I took 6 minutes of your time, but you're going to get them right back. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Miss Marcia Weekes. I am extremely happy to be here tonight. I want to take the opportunity to say good evening to the good people of St. Peter and by extension, Barbados.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure having you tonight. Always, always. And you know, I was checking my phone. I didn't see what you did in St. Peter this week before we jump into this. Anything new that you did? You're always doing something exciting in St. Peter. Who you spoke to this week?
I spent a lot of time meeting and greeting the good people of St. Peter, calling people on the phone, talking with people, wishing them a pleasant weekend. Sometimes it's just nice to talk to people in private, see how they're doing, get their feedback on how the community is. So I spent quiet discussion with many people in St. Peter over the weekend.
Yes, wonderful. I know you're always on the beat, you know, out there on the road, and I love it. I love it. That's like the old time politician, you know, you connect with the people, and that is wonderful. Well, you know, let me shut up and just let you go at this, because I know this is a pet peeve of yours. This is very important for you and the people of St. Peter. So go right ahead.
Yes. Today, when I say today, I mean 2026. In comparison to the late 1970s and early 1980s, the beach was a place that many Barbadians would go earlier mornings, especially the elderly, to soar, to frolic, to socialize, to have good conversation. Late evening, the elderly would go back again. During the day, the youth would play, as I said, frolic, especially during the summer vacation, the Easter vacation, and indeed the Christmas vacation. And I remember as a lad in 1982, the song Jack, That Beach Is Mine, it came out. And it was talking about Barbadians are being pushed off the beach or made to feel not appreciated on their own beach or beaches. And that was then. And that came about because before tourism took off in the way that it did, sugar was king. And we know that during the colonial period, the plantation occupied the best lands in Barbados. And that was the inland of Barbados. We had the arable land to farm. And most people, or many people, were pushed onto the rocky areas and even the beaches. So many Barbadians, they have a history of living on the coast. And some people actually live on the beach. I remember seeing people in Six Mains living on the seaside. In Spikestown, the same thing. Or down the trees in Spikestown, we call it the trees, that's on Queen Street. So Barbadians will picnic on beaches. Sometimes I remember going to the beach and fishing. Sometimes we would catch crabs, roast them and eat them. Sea crabs, that is. Some people will catch fish and roast them on the beach. But then we realized that with the building of hotels in the early 1980s, as I said, and the late 1970s, you will find that the security officers from the hotel would make you feel as though you can't come too far up the beach. When I say up the beach, I mean from the water line. You had to stay close to the sea rather than come up close to the hotel. And Gabby penned that song Jack, that beach is mine. And it was a hit immediately with Barbadians. And today we are beginning to see the same thing happen all over again. And it is not that Barbadians are anti-development. No, we're not. But as I said the last time I was on talking about the coast, how much development is good development. And I think when Barbadians begin to feel as though that they are being pushed away from their natural communities, or that the land that they once occupied that was handed down to them by their parents or grandparents, they no longer can occupy it because of high taxation or whatever, then it becomes a problem. And you must realize that when a hotel is built in a community, it raises the cost of the land, and that is reflected in taxation. And then you find that ordinary Barbadians are being priced off of their land because they cannot pay the high land tax. And when you have to sell your land to a foreign developer, you might feel good initially, but then years down the road you realize that all of the beachfront gone, and we can no longer enjoy the beach, just sit down and watch the sunset. That becomes a problem. When the ecosystem is being destroyed because we are putting concrete on the beaches, that becomes a problem. Maybe government should consider going forward that any development should be on the roadside, the side away from the beach. There's nothing wrong with crossing the road and going on the beach. By so doing, you maintain that window to the sea, and the beach is there for everyone. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You're allowing developers to develop on island, albeit on the other side of the road, and you're still allowing free access to natives, to Barbadians. Yes, I remember playing tape ball cricket on the beach too. I used to bowl very fast, especially when the surf come in. You bowl the ball right across the water. So as a lad, being on the beach was a recreational activity. Today, it is still a recreational activity, but it is somewhat different. In fact, a lot of the beaches are no longer there because when a developer develops his side of the beach, oftentimes it is at the expense of a close by beach that is being used by the locals. And then you find out where you claim land one area, the sea claims it another area. And then the beach is reduced. And in some instances, it's gone. For example, if you look at the Fisherman Pub in Spikestown and in Norroch Beach, There's no longer a beach behind there anymore. If one time you could walk behind the fisherman pub, and where the canal comes right into the sea, that would fill up the sand and so on, or there was a beach. The Norris beach in Spikestown again, that is very small compared to what it was before. If you go over to Hill Woods, we had what was called the Blue Stone. That was a long coral stone, perhaps about 100 feet long or more. Yeah, it could be 100 feet or more. And that was a natural breaker for the waves. And we have pristine beaches right across up to St. Lucie, Sherman's, the border of St. Lucie, St. Peter. And you could walk from Hill Woods Beach right across Six Mains, right across Sherman's, right up to Half Moon Fort in St. Lucie. Now today we can't do that because there's so much development on the west coast of St. Peter that the beach have been chopped up to accommodate those luxury hotels and so on. And right now in Six Mains, there's another luxury hotel going up. And at one time, we could go and bathe what we used to call, or what we start calling, the Nikki Beach. Now, there's a narrow entrance to that beach. And you have to go up several steps and then walk down 2 flights of steps to get to the beach. And I said last time that the elderly or disabled people cannot, or if they can, it's going to be very difficult for them to get to the beach. In theory, in law, it is said that there is access to the beach. But if the access is being hampered by boulders, jetties, high walls, to me, that's not good enough. We should not be living in a country where we are prioritizing the almighty foreign dollar over the comfort of our own people. So now you're moving from that plantation dynamic, is now being shifted to the tourism dynamic. So the tourism sector is replacing the plantation and sugar sector that once thrived before. So now we are catering for foreigners and their money at the expense of Barbadians. I think that something better can be done. Government must look at its policy. They must listen to the ordinary Barbadians. We must have town hall meetings before development is done. If you're going to have a major development in the area, especially an area that is frequented by locals, they should have a say. And especially if it's going to hamper the cost of the land, not hamper, if it's going to impact on the cost of the land, perhaps government should implement or pass legislation to protect those local residents that have been living there for a very long period of time. Perhaps you could call it some heritage, I don't know, a heritage piece of legislation. If you can prove that you've been living there for an extended period of time, the land has been handed down to you by your grandfather, your grandparents, or your parents, then perhaps you are given some kind of concession so that you will not be priced out of the market, that your tax will be so high that you have to sell off your land and leave. And investors must accept that. It is practiced all over the world. If you come to a country and they're natives and you want to invest, you have to incorporate your investment with the natives. That people will not only be able to go and see the beach if they're working at a luxury hotel as a maid or a gardener or some other kind of worker. You should be able to go to the beach and enjoy the beach as a Barbadian, as we once did many decades ago. Quickly, we are losing our beachfront properties to investors from overseas. We are losing windows to the sea, and we are given, or it's being replaced by narrow corridors that people call beach access. And to me, that is a crying shame for a beautiful country. This Barbados is an island country, an island state, and Barbados should have access to the beach, whichever way you want to look at it. Yes, Marcia, you see you're looking at me hard.
Yeah, no. I'm caught up in what you are sharing, and I have a question for you. Do you think Barbadians are speaking up enough, or are they waiting until it's too late?
Sometimes Barbadians speak up, but they're not speaking up in the way that we would want them to.
About this particular issue.
Well, okay, some Barbadians do speak out, but you find Barbadians in the rum shop or around a table of dominoes speaking about these important issues, but they're not getting out in the streets and protesting. They're not getting on the calling programs and speaking up and agitating government, because we know that government is there to represent us, the interests of the people. They're supposed to serve the interests of the people and not the overseas investor. But it seems as though that government is more interested in direct investment at the expense of ordinary Barbadians, and that's a crying shame.
Yeah. So, because someone said here in the comment section, why don't why Bajans don't get an injunction, file an injunction? You're a lawyer. Can you talk to us about that? Is that something that people could actually do?
First and foremost, you can file an injunction on anything. Is whether or not the court grants you the injunction. That's first and foremost. Secondly, an injunction is extremely expensive, right? So you might want to file an injunction, which might cost you $7,000 or $8,000. Will you go and do that out of your own pocket on behalf of the whole community? Mary Sue or David? He might say, well, if everyone don't come together, then why should I be out of pocket? So it's not as simple as just say file an injunction, because injunctions are expensive. And then after filing the injunction, the court may or may not grant you the injunction.
Right.
It depends on if the court sees it as important.
Right. What part of it that makes it? Is it the lawyer fees that's expensive for the injunction?
Yeah, the lawyer fees are going to be very expensive, because when you are filing an injunction, the lawyer has to stop all that he is doing or she is doing to focus on filing that injunction, especially if you're going to do it urgently. So, right, if it's an urgent injunction, then it's going to cost you some money. But in fact, injunctions, anytime you want the services of a lawyer, is going to cost you. And then you have to encourage the community that is a worthwhile event, that they would want to shell out hundreds of dollars in order to pay a lawyer thousands of dollars for this injunction. And then it is no guarantee that the court is going to grant the injunction.
The court will do it. But I'm thinking here that, do we have lawyers who will say, listen, not necessarily for free, but at a reduced cost? Because you're saying it. Did I hear you right? You said it could be up to $7,000. Did I hear you right?
It could be any amount. But I think this is more a political issue than a legal issue. The law is there. No beach in Barbados is private. But we have some unscrupulous people who are making it difficult for Barbadians to get to beaches. So I think that Barbadians, they should petition their representatives in the various constituencies, especially those coastal constituencies. They elected a government. A government is supposed to act in the best interest of their constituents. Therefore, government should take a serious role, and therefore it would not be expensive, because government can pass legislation to secure the rights and interests of its citizens. You don't need money for that. If the government is working on behalf of the people, then it will act in such a way.
Right. So you're saying that that some Barbadians are speaking out. You're hearing them in the rum shops, right? Because I know you're among Bajans, so you hear them talking about it in St. Peter. They're concerned about it, but it's not moving from the dining table and the rum shop and standing up outside after church. it just remains there. You're saying that protests then, needs to move from that level to a next level.
Well, yeah, I feel if a parliamentary representative is interested in the well-being of his constituents, his ears should be to the ground, and he should raise these issues in Parliament. He should not be there as someone who's going to toe the line for his party or her party. I think that's what we're getting now. We're getting representatives who are party faithfuls, rather than looking at the issues and representing their constituents. Right now in St. Peter, beach access is becoming a problem. We have it there in Six Mains on the side where we have that jetty protruding to the then we have to the west of the that harbor.
Yes.
Right, we have a new luxury hotel going up, and on the northern side there are rocks on the beach going right into the sea. So if you want to get to the beach walking from Six Mains going west, going south, you have to go in the sea and swim around if you can swim. And if you decide then you're going to walk around the road, then you have to go up a very narrow wooden step structure to get to the beach. You can see right there in the corner, you see two flights of steps coming down there, right in the just above the only right there. So you see that's two flights of steps, and that can be very difficult for an elderly person or a person that is disabled, who's not able-bodied, and that should not be the case. All of that area was once a lovely bay that people could just go and roast breadfruit, play some cricket, exercise on evenings or mornings, and have a frolic in the sea. Now it is very, very covered off. I don't know what's happening to this country.
Yeah, but Jason, I'm listening to you. We have to move it from we've been talking about this on the show. You brought it on the show. So has Mr. Victor Lewis, and several others, and the question is, what can we really do about it? Because the reality is that it's going to affect us. It's affecting us already.
We're talking about the beach here, right? This structure going up here is called Pendry. And if you go on the roadside, there's a very narrow corner there. Two large vehicles cannot pass. You can't get two buses or two trucks or two minibuses passing that corner. And I dare say, you're going to have to reposition that road. And it means then that you're going to have some dislocation of people in the Six Mains area. Right? I am sure, government is not saying anything, I am sure houses will have to be moved. I'm sure of it. And sometimes people have these gimmicks during election time, and they try to hoodwink the constituents. But you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And so stemming from the beach, we also go slightly inland, and we find that you're going to get a lot of dislocation there. So it almost peeves me, because if you look here, you see a lot of rock structure in front there. No, that's reclaiming land there, right? Wow. To get a bigger beach. It tells me now somewhere further north or south of that structure, the sea is going to reclaim beach elsewhere that the locals are currently using. We all know that is what happened. If you take one part,
that's an important point you're making there, Jason. Say that again, because the average person. So you're saying because they're reclaiming, they're reclaiming this piece as a land that beach
to improve the beach in that area. So once you have that rock structure, it will change the flow of the water, and the beach will improve right here. So in the Nikki Beach area. But it's going to take away from beach elsewhere, and probably where the locals are bathing, right? Already to access this beach here is very, very difficult. It's almost impossible for some people in the community to access this beach. And it's a very narrow, maybe 2 feet wide wooden structure. That's so wide. You have to climb up and then go down 2 flights of steps. And it's saying, and then on top of that, then you have to look at the taxes that are going to be costing the ordinary Barbadians. So in a way, they're not pushing you off the land, but they're pricing you out off the land. They're pricing you off the land, right? And when Barbadians are made to feel as though that they are not welcome in their own country or in their own neighborhood, then I think that development now is too much, or is now beginning to become bothersome.
Yes, it's overbearing. Let me ask you though, who should be held accountable, right? If Barbadians are feeling that they're slowly being pushed away from their own spaces, as you said early when you started, these are our spaces, and we're feeling that we are being pushed away. Who is supposed to be blamed? Is it the government, the developer, the planners, or ourselves? Who is
to be honest, everyone is responsible. The government is responsible because government must make policy that is harmonious to the residents and the would-be investor. You cannot prioritize policy that will benefit the investor and hurt local residents. But because you want investors, you must also consider their stake in the market too. So government has a duty, a responsibility to formulate policy that will be preservative for all and sundry. The private investor is also responsible. She or he cannot be that greedy that they're just concerned about their almighty dollar, right? They must take into consideration the laws of Barbados and the culture of Barbados, and also residents. Residents have a responsibility to speak out and speak up and let their views be heard. Let government know what the issue is or what the issues are, and government must listen and respond accordingly. That is how they must shape their policy, by listening to the residents, by considering the concerns of the investors, but overall, it must make harmonious policy that will benefit long term for the country. And they must take into consideration as well the ecosystem and so on and so forth. How it's affecting the beach, how it's affecting the land above the beach, how it's going to affect the roads, how it's going to affect housing, how it's going to affect water, how it's going to affect the aquifer that runs under the water, under the soil. Because when you cut off the beachfront and the land, that land and beach that was slowing down the flow of water into the sea now has nothing to hold it back. And then the water is rushing right into the sea. And then when they pump water now, the water level drops so low that they're going to be pumping a lot of brown water and giving people to drink. So government has to look at it from a holistic perspective. The developer must be cognizant how their development is going to impact the area, and residents must not be afraid to speak up and speak out. So it's a holistic thing.
So there's a responsibility of those of us, we're listening, we are taking note and so on, but we've got to do something. We've got to register. I know when we did the march in Whole Town, I'm being told that developer has changed his mind on that particular hotel, the 9-story hotel that was to be built there. I believe that we really need to stand up, Barbadians. We really, really need to stand up. Jason, I'm thinking 20 years from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that your children, right? Your children will say as they pass the beaches 20 years from now? what will they say as they pass these beaches? They walk past the Barbados coastline.
I fear that
20 years.
20 years from now, even 10 years, young Barbadians are going to say to older Barbadians, why haven't you protected our island from this kind of damage? Because I see it as damage when it hurts the environment, when you push away residents from their local neighborhoods, it becomes damaging. And they're going to be asking the question, why did you not do something to protect us? Why were we forced to go and live elsewhere? Why was our ecosystem destroyed? Why didn't you protect this from us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know right now of one area in St. Peter on the west coast that initially civil servants responsible for that kind of planning was initially against the development going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the then prime minister gave the go ahead. And now people are suffering as a result of that. And I think it's also affecting the water quality and so on. And people could, all the Barbadians can tell you, because I remember as a boy going to the hills, beach, and so on, and digging holes in the sand. And if you dig it deep enough, sometimes you will get brackish water coming up, almost like fresh water. You could taste it, right? And that was evidence that the underwater aquifers was flowing into the sea, but obviously because of the beach and the swampy land above the beach, you would not get the water rushing right into the sea. Now, I think that may be part of the problem, but I would speak in broad terms like that.
Right. Yeah. But just as we are closing, we have 2 minutes here, because this is really when you read the comments online, and I'm going to keep this up tomorrow night. We're going to look at this again and read some of the comments. I don't know if you read that comment that under the article from Andre Barrow. I'm hoping, I really wish I could get him on the show. If anybody out there knows him and we can get him on the show, it'd be great. He's in the diaspora, and I think those in the diaspora, they are really worried and wondering, what are we doing here about it? But people are really concerned about it. But I realize it's just staying there. Just, as you said, talk in the rum shops, talk online, type in, and so on. But let me ask you a direct question, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Phillips,
call me Jason.
Jason, your final question from me. I would like to know, you are an aspiring, member of parliament, lead in government in Barbados. You're aspiring to governance. What can you do? You're raising the issue, or tell me, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it?
I'm on the Marcia Weekes Show talking about it now.
Yes. I know you were going to say that, but is there anything that you're doing in terms of educating the people in St. Peter? What are you doing? Because this is a very serious issue,
Of course it is. Prior to coming onto your show, in fact, I think that's why you called me to discuss it on your show. I did a video in 6 months, and I had the music in the background playing, and I interviewed a number of people about the beaches, the lack of beach access, how the dynamics of the beach is changing, and so on. And I had a lot of material on it, but of course, when you can only put out snippets and sound bites and so on, right? But I am very concerned. I want to go in depth. I want to do more interviews. I want to visit more beaches on the coast in St. Peter. And if they get me vexed, I'm going to do it right across the island, right? Because at the end of the day, I am a Barbadian. And I say to people, it is people first, party second. Whichever party. People
Yeah.
first, party second. And this is not let us come and play society. This is the real thing. When you destroy your society, right? It don't come back. The good book says, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" In
Mm-hmm.
simple terms, when you sell your birthright for a bowl of stew, a few dollars, and then it's gone, what are you going to tell your children? That you gamble with their future? That's what we're doing now. We have politicians in parliament, and I'm not hearing them talk about the issues, the pressing issues like this one here that affects ordinary Barbadians. And another thing, apart from not having access to beaches, Barbadians are beginning to feel unwelcome in their own country. When you go on a beach and you realize that all these hotels are up and they got security officers, they got barricades, or they got chairs and they tell you can't come
Yeah.
up here. All kind of nonsense. Don't get me heated now. Yes, or they have these different events on the beach and so on, and you feel as though you can't go too close to that event or to that hotel. It is rubbish, right? And government, I'm speaking to the Barbados Labour Party led government. Please take note. Barbadians are upset. They are talking, albeit among themselves. Those of you who have been elected to represent the people, try and do the people's work. Barbadians are becoming disenfranchised in their own home. It's almost you're in your own home, and somebody who invited your guest now start to make you feel uncomfortable in your own home.
Yes.
Barbadians are feeling uncomfortable at the beach. And in some
Yes.
instances, when they want to go to a beach, they got boulders and jetties preventing them from getting to that beach unless you can swim around. So if you go on the beach, nobody can move you because the beach is public. But because the access is so difficult, it is making it very, very hard to get to beaches. Or the price of the land is becoming so expensive that taxation is forcing people to sell their lands to foreign investors, right? And that is something that should not be. Look at that jetty, look, and the rocks underneath the jetty. You have to swim around that, and that is low tide. That is low tide. Then
Yeah.
it's like, well, if you can't swim, you have to forget about going on that beach. Look at this other one here. To get to the beach, you have to go on that narrow strip of wood, right? And then walk down 2 flights of steps. That's about 10 feet. Before you get onto the beach, you have to come at those steps, right? If you walk 1 foot now, or if you're in a wheelchair, you can't get to that beach. If you're feeble because of age, you can't get to that beach. A caring government will show more interest in its people. What we have here now is a disinterested government. It is not
Yeah.
listening to its people. We have representatives who are not listening to their constituents. They're doing a party line. And this is not about politics. This is not about anti-development either. This is about
Correct.
this is the right thing to do. We must all have a stay in our country. Barbadians are supposed to feel welcome on their own beaches. The government must set policy that the land must not, the taxation must not be so high that the locals can't pay the taxes. Those of us who live on the beach have some sort of heritage legislation that keeps the price of taxation, the cost of taxation, sorry, at a rate that the ordinary Barbadian who been living there from time immemorial can't afford it because we get special concessions on that tax. Or the investor pay a part of the tax to the resident. Something must be done though. And,
Correct.
right. And I invite you, Marcia, if you want to go on a tour, you want to invite me, I put on my short pants, show my legs.
Well, we're going to do more than a tour. I believe we need the same way that we went down to Whole Town, we went down to Joe's River. We need to loyal opposition. We need to pay a visit to St. Peter.
Yeah, because
And
that
we
is
need to
important.
pay we need a march in St. Peter. We need a march. We need a specific type of march in St. Peter. And I think it is very important. And Jason, we and we have ours. You have your style of what you do. We have our style of what we
But
do.
the thing is, right, Barbadians are so caught up with their other cares of life that even though they're talking about these things, they have to be balancing the cost of living. You have to be dealing with the violence in the communities, talking to the children and so on. And sometimes this get put on the back burner, right? So I guess we have to re-educate our people,
Yes,
speak to
which
our
you are
people,
doing. Yeah.
yeah, and
You're
uh,
doing,
and then
yeah,
we come back.
yourself. Yeah, well, thank you so much. And we want to thank, we use Andre Barrow. If you're listening, we use some of your material tonight, a great article that he wrote, and also to Victor Lewis, who has been leading the charge with Saint Joseph. Dave, did I say that right? Yes, in St. Joseph, there with Joe's River, and they had an injunction, and they did all of that there, and got through. So we need to look into some of those things, I believe, and we need to march, we need to protest, we need to write petitions, we need to hit the pavement, loyal opposition. We need to get out there. That beach ain't mine, as you say, the quiet and persistent enclosure of the Barbadian horizon. That was by Andre Barrow. Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips. But it seems like we might pay you a visit down there.
That would be lovely.
All right. God bless. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Ms. Weeks. And
Yes.
St. Peter, have a good evening.
Yes. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks.
I grew up bathing in seawater, but nowadays that is the horror. If I only venture down by the shore, police telling me I can't bathe no more. Cause Jack don't want me to bathe on my beach. Jack, tell them to kick me out of reach. Jack, tell them I will never make the grade. Strength and security, bill barricade. That can happen here in this country. I want Jack to know that the bitch belong to me. That can happen here over my dead body. Tell Jack that I say that the bitch belong to me. Look, that bitch is mine. I could bathe anytime. Despite what he say, I can bathe anywhere. That bitch is mine. I could bathe anytime. Despite what he say, I can bathe anywhere. Tourism vital, I can't deny, but can't mean more than I and I. My naval strength, very right here, but a tourist one could be anywhere. Yes, Jack, don't want me to bathe on my beach. Jack, tell them to kick me out of reach. Jack, tell them I will never make the grade. Strength and security, bill barricade. That can happen here in this country. I want Jack to know that the bitch belong to me. That can happen here over my dead body. Tell Jack, Gabby say that the bitch belong to me. That bitch is mine. I could bathe anytime. Despite what he say, I can bathe anywhere. That bitch is mine. I could bathe anytime. Despite what he say, I can bathe anywhere. I used to sell coral and lime, but Jack insists that is a crime. Now when I see The great strength and security build barricade. That can happen here in this country. I want Jack to know that the bitch belong to we. That can happen here over my dead body. Tell me, got Jack Gabby say that the bitch belong to we. That bitch is mine, I could wait anytime. Despite what they say, I got paid anyway. That bitch is mine, I could wait anytime. Despite what they say, I got paid anyway. If I can't be there, tell me who can. Who are after
All right. The beach is mine.
If they ban me from my beach land,
The beach is mine. I'm going to ask everybody to be sharing, liking, and sharing. We are going to move into another phase, and we are so behind time at this point, but we are going to press on. All right. So that means that your call-in segment is going to be cut by about 30 minutes. But, you know, we are on again tomorrow. All right. But so I'm going to start something here tonight, and I call it the Epstein series. I had something I was doing before. I used to call it Diddy. And then you all thought I was talking about Diddy, right? But no, I want us to right now to really pay attention. I know it's 8:53. Some of you are getting a little tired, but I want you to focus in right now, okay? Because I want to address something that we're seeing happening in Barbados. And a lot of people, they're making jokes about it. They're passing around information, and you know, as though it doesn't, you know, as though what we're passing around does not directly affect people. It affects people's lives, and that's what I want us to look at this evening. I'm not here to I'm not doing this for gossip. I want to talk about power. I want to talk about predators. I want to talk about protection, and I want to talk about silence. A lot of us, as I said, we are interested in the gossip of it, not recognizing that there are people's lives that are affected. And what prompted me to do this was the piece that was in the Cuckoo and Flying Fish. That's what they call it, Cuckoo. And that was sent to me very, very early on Saturday morning. Very early, and I wouldn't bother. It's a long piece, so I wouldn't bother to try to read it. Right? But that was sent to me, as I said, very early. And the title of it, it says, Getting Ahead of a Scandal. Right? And this was published in the Nation newspaper. Dave, I'll actually send it to you. I'll send it to you because I think that I think we need to read it. I thought I wouldn't read it, but I think we need to read it because I want us to approach this with a more serious intent or serious disposition, because a lot of people you think it is funny, right? A lot of you think it is funny. But while Dave is getting ready to put it up, in lieu of time, I'm just going to start reading it because I know that a lot of you would have read it before. And the title is Getting Ahead of a Scandal. Police had a rather unusual request recently after a well-known man rushed into one of their stations in a huff and a puff following a confrontation. It had to do with the Computer Misuse Act. And we're going to come back to that. And the young man before them wanted to head off any looming scandal by blocking the circulation of a recording of him in a rather delicate and compromising position. This man, who recently ascended to a lofty position by choice, was at the home of a married man. However, the wife unexpectedly returned home and quietly observed them in the bedroom and just as quietly recorded what was taking place. When she was good and ready, she eventually made herself known to the startled two and broke up the tryst. What followed was not a slow exit, but a hurried one by the personality, who jumped into his vehicle and sped off, leaving the married man to handle his domestic affairs. He did not head home, though. His first stop was at the nearest police station, where he spoke with officers, telling them he did not have an immediate complaint, but suspected that he could if things unfolded the way he anticipated. He wanted the officers to pay a visit to the woman in question and to inform her that should she attempt to circulate that embarrassing footage she recorded, that there was something called the Computer Misuse Act under which she could be charged. The man said he just wanted the woman warned, believing that would be enough to keep the situation under wraps and allow him to carry on in his otherwise public life without humiliation. The man belongs to the same set of red groupies, one of whom recently set the law on a social media poster after a horrible blow up on their social media platforms. He just wants the woman to know that what befell that poster, the person on social media, might very well become her lot if she was willing to risk releasing her damaging recording. Cuckoo readers might remember that the law accuses a person of intentionally or recklessly using a computer to send communication that would be, among other things, menacing, obscene, right? Causes annoyance, inconvenience, or distress. When word got out about the visit to the station, some of the man's friends questioned him about what happened. He apparently saying that while there is a recording, it is not as explicit as some people believe, as the situation did not go that far. However, a couple of them remain highly suspicious, since the man is known to be a smooth talker and has managed to finesse his way out of sticky situations before him with surprising results. Now, I am reading that, guys, and I'm serious. It's not for gossip that I'm reading it. It's because I want to shed light on a bigger problem, a real problem that is happening in Barbados. And I want you all to take what I'm going to share with you in the next couple of minutes very seriously. I'm using the term Epstein files as a metaphor. All right? There's no connection to Jeffrey Epstein at all. I'm using it as a metaphor for elite abuse systems in Barbados. Elite abuse systems in Barbados. And I'm entitling this episode "The Boys We Don't See." When our young men are abused, but the society looks away. We are going to use that to delve into this topic. For years, viewers, our society has spoken about protecting women and girls, and rightly so. But tonight we are asking a harder question. Who is protecting our boys? Who is protecting the young men entering politics? There's a connection with what I'm saying, with what we are discussing there. What we're finding, Barbados, is that a lot of the young men who want to enter politics are being propositioned by older politicians. Yes? They're being offered positions. And a lot of it is happening in that red camp because they're the ones in power at the moment. This camp they're red, not ready, and nasty. A lot of the young men entering politics are being propositioned. I can't call names on here, but I'm telling you what I know. Large sums of money they're offering young men. Some who are entering entertainment as well. Some are entering fashion, business, public life. Notice that the Nation News says a young man. A young man, that's what it said. It didn't call any name, and I'm not calling any name. A young man who was offered, they said that he has a what? They use a word there about his job. They use a term, I want to find it, right? About his job. A lot of these people, you have to ask the question, how did they get the job? What's the term that they use? He has a big position, a lofty position. This is what is happening in Barbados. I am telling you, folks. A lot of our young men that you see, they are professional and they start to move up very, very quickly. A lot of them, a lot of times there's an older man that is supporting them. There is an older man. They have somebody like, somebody have a man, a woman have a man, they have a man. Fashion, business. A lot of them are facing doors that may come with hidden conditions. We're hearing the whispers, they're growing. I can tell you of the names of the people that have been approached. Some take it. It's not just the lodge that they're going into, but it's homosexuality. In order to get ahead. Notice it says a young man who got a lofty position. Young men tested, groomed, offered money, offered connections. They're offered access. That is what is going on in this country, standard. If you want the grant, if you want the recommendation, there is one of them inside that red government. All he deals with is boys, underprivileged boys. If you want to rise, if you want the recommendation, if you want the grant, and they lot of them in that red government, they know. They know what they're each doing. And sometimes they put out things on each other. And it's not just the men, it's those girls as well. There are big hardback women inside that red nasty government that they're holding these young women at ransom and offering them positions. People you see climbing up the ladder. They have people doing, or people who do news, traveling with them all about young ladies. They move from one, that's women now. The women, it's Sodom and Gomorrah in that red government. Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm not naming names, but the truth is, what is the real price of power? We're looking at patterns and the silence like this wife being shut up and threatened by someone who hurt her. And this is where I saw a video going around by a particular social media person, and they're saying that the woman can go ahead and post it because the only, if it's truth, then that stands up against any defamation claim. But under the Computer Misuse Act, that's where he's wrong. It's not about defamation. It's about what? If the person was annoyed. Yeah? It says it all here in there. This article is correct. If the was a person annoyed, right? Was the person annoyed? Was the person I wrote down here and I can't read my handwriting. But it's way more than just truth. You are talking here about if it was obscene, right? If it was obscene, if it was intentional, if the person recklessly or intentionally use a computer to send communication that could be, among other things, menacing. Was it menacing to the person? Obscene? Did it cause that person annoyance, inconvenience, or distress? You understand? That has nothing to do with truth. So he's wrong on that. If they were going to bring defamation, a defamation lawsuit, then the wife had truth on her side if she had the video. But the Computer Misuse Act is being used just like what they wanted to do with the Cybercrime Bill. The difference between the Computer Misuse Act and the Cybercrime Bill, there are more, they use more, it's basically the same words are used. However, the charge with with the Cybercrime Bill would have been 10 years and $100,000 in jail. This one, and I can't remember, some of it's slipping me. Somebody can put it in there for me. What's the charges for the Computer Misuse Act? It's lower. And they wanted to use the Cybercrime Bill to give you a higher sentencing, you see? Or you pay more money. So this person that had this lofty position in government very well understand what they're doing. And I want to say this Red and Ready crew, this is what they intend to do while they're in power, to stop people from sharing anything. They plan to use the Computer Misuse Act They are planning to use the Computer Misuse Act to shut up people in this country. That is what they are planning to do. And this was one of the reasons when we went to Washington about the cybercrime bill. This was a point that we raised. What about victims of abuse? What about you remember the Me Too movement? What if people weren't allowed to share their experience on social media of people abusing them, people raping them, people doing all these different things to them? And now, this is what is being used to threaten this wife and to keep her in silence. This is the Barbados Epstein files. Protected by the law. The government, people in the government, lofty position, a young man, which I am saying very, 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 you need to check how that young man got there. How did he get there? Whose campaign did he work on? I'm just saying the young man I'm not calling any name, the young man that they're talking about in the nation. I'm not calling anybody name. How did he get that lofty position? Whose campaign did he work on? Is lofty position, did that have to do with part payment of working on a particular campaign? Plus, among other things, who is a person that gave that person that lofty position? Is that person one of those that's grooming people, young men who want to enter politics? That person must break them in. And there is that silence because the boys are told to man up. I remember watching a video, and I don't know if anybody out there can find it and send it to me. I would really, really appreciate it. There's a video with a young man from one of those from a community, one of the communities, and he was sitting down counting a whole set of money on this in this video, a Bajan guy, and he said that a lot of people don't realize, as he's counting, he's saying it, that a lot of young men you see progressing in Barbados. He said it's either they have to either go into a life, if you don't have no education, you go into a life of crime or be or homosexuality. Let me not use the term he said. Or be buggered. Thank you, Dave. I was going to use another B word, but no, let me try and keep it. Right? Buggered or criminality. And he's counting his money and said, well, I choose crime. And he was counting his money. And people sent it around and they were laughing. They were laughing at it because we think it is so funny. But this is a real thing that is happening in Barbados, y'all. Right? And there is a voice note that is going around, and I don't know, I don't think I can play it because I didn't get the permission to play this man's thing, and it's not a I don't know if I can play it. If anybody can let me know if I can play it. Any lawyers listening, let me know if I can play it. It's a voice note. It's been going around on WhatsApp, and I wanted to play it. It doesn't name anyone in it. Trying to find it now. But male sexual abuse is often mocked instead of treated seriously. There was a politician that was accused of sexually abusing the boys in his care right here in this country. And from what I'm understanding, you see, abuse begets abuse. A lot of these guys, they get abused because they're poor, they're trying to make it, in life. They might be educated, but it's tough. You got to know somebody. An older man comes along, he's already accomplished, offer you money, and then you have to do the favors. You do that and you get to a certain position. You have good intentions, but you didn't get any healing or gone through any therapy for what the older man did to you in order to get you, for you to get to your position. And then guess what? You start to have some kind of charity with boys, and you start to sleep with those boys. The boys talk about it, and up till now, those boys have not gotten any justice in this country. All we do is gossip about it. All we do is whisper about it. When a boy is violated, a lot of these people that are predators right now, they were violated. And what what does the society do? They call it a story. That we don't see it as trauma, it's just a story. When a girl reports abuse, the society reacts, right? Oh my God, we react. A boy reports abuse and we laugh. I want to say to you, based on my knowledge, that whoever the nation they were talking about are abused boys who had to give up something in order to get lofty positions. And look at what is happening now. As parents, we sometimes miss the signs in boys. We do. Because they're less likely to report. Because they're going to be laughed at. There is this dark place in Barbados where lots of children, young people are being molested. Caribbean, Barbados, we do not take abuse seriously. Now, somebody listening to me trying to say I'm against homosexuals, I'm against lesbian relationships and all of that. Yes, that's my Christian belief. And I, based on my Christian belief, I have a right to be against anything I want to be against. However, I am one of those who believe if that's the choice you have taken, that's your business. It is. I'm not going to be I'm not going to discriminate against you, and I'm not going to try to be forcing you or, I'm not to stop. Listen, I'm going to deal with you as a human being. That's the truth. That's how I live my life. But all I'm saying is this. The children, the boys, the teenagers, young people leave you with a degree and trying to make it, realize they can't really make it, but then there's an older man right there to begin the grooming. I can speak. I want to do broadcasting. Even in that, they groom them. Huh? And when one won't do what the other one, they move out that one and bring in their boy toy. How do they offer them scholarships? We know of one that was offered scholarship. Bright boy. In politics now, offered scholarships. They offer them political introductions. But we're not taking this thing seriously. Event invitations they offer them. And we know who these people are. We know who the groomers are. But these people are so high in power. They're so high up in power. Some of these boys commit suicide. Event invitations. Career mentorship. Large financial gifts. Some of these numbers are mere $200,000. They promise them positions of power, of influence. Because sometimes we need to understand that grooming, most time it doesn't begin with sex, you know. A lot of these guys, they don't have a father figure. Some of them growing up poor, but they're bright. They're smart. They can speak well. They come and they give them some attention. Yes. They pay for something for them. They can buy a nice whatever it is that they want. A suit. They give them opportunity. They give them trips. They give them opportunity. They give them access. How do you think a predator identify an ambitious young man? Because I am telling you, some of these characters in this cuckoo story, ambitious. And the big question is, how did they get the lofty position? What role did they play in the last campaign for whichever party it is? Why are our young men entering politics be made to be vulnerable? Why are young men entering politics so vulnerable? You know, somebody said to me, Marcia, the only thing that transcends politics in Barbados is not religion. You would think religion should transcend politics, right? It's this. It's that lifestyle that transcends politics. They connect across parties. You hear what I tell you? That's the one thing. And those people create a gatekeeper system. You understand? Some of these same people are the ones who say that Mr. Thorne talking about morality all the time, if he expect that he going to win anything in Barbados. Some of these same people. that every time Mr. Thorne talk about morality, he's offending a certain set of people. That's them in that gatekeeper system. Thorne did not fit that. So they create a gatekeeper system. And the question is, what happens when opportunity is controlled by a few powerful people? One person or a whole set of people control the door. And that abuse is hiding right behind the opportunity. That closed door, the abuse is hiding right behind it. They open the door, but the abuse is right there. A lot of these young men you see there with lofty positions. And I want to say this to those in the LGBTQ community. I know you are watching tonight. I'm not here to condemn anybody. I really am not. If this was done, a wife and if this was, a male and female, whatever, it is the same issue. It's the same issue. But I want to say something to those in the LGBTQ community. You know what is happening. You know. I want to speak to you. You know what is happening to a lot of the young men. That a lot of them, they don't want that lifestyle. They don't want to be buggered. You know, a lot of them are looking for opportunity. You know, a lot of them need help. You know what has happened. You know the stories more than we outside who know it. Where is the advocacy for those young men? I sincerely want to ask. Or is it that you don't want to advocate? You can't advocate because that is your pool. That's where you get fresh meat. It's a very serious situation. Where's the advocacy for the young girls that they're taking on trips? They're also giving lofty positions. What happens to them? Abuse and power, abuse and power, abuse, power, abuse, power. And there's nobody in the LGBTQ community who will stand up for these young people. Young men saying, I can't get the grant. The person who's supposed to give the grant says that I have to have a threesome in order to get the grant. What happened to those young men? I want to say to parents watching, they might be older children in their 20s. There's some things that you can look for. Sudden secrecy. You start to get very secretive. Unexplained money. Where did they get the money from? Lots of mood swings. They withdraw a lot. Personality change. Anxiety around certain people that are supposed to be mentors. They might not be little children anymore. They've gone past 18 now, or they might even be 18 or so, might just be 21, 22, 23, 24. A lot of these guys, it's not the life that they have chosen. Some were groomed because they're trying to better themselves. They're trying to move up in society. They're trying to, they want to be better. Now, not every mentor is a predator, but you have to stay alert. Even if one young man in Barbados has had to trade his dignity for opportunity, we have failed him. Even if one young man in Barbados has had to trade dignity for opportunity. I know some of you out there saying, oh, he always wanted that. It's not true for all of them. It is not true. Sometimes we're too harsh. I've had opportunity of speaking to some of these people. If power is being used to prey on the ambition of these young men, then this is not just politics. It is not culture. It is not just gossip. We have a moral emergency. That's what I want to share with you tonight. That's where we're going to. That's where we stop. That's where we're going to stop. My heart is heavy tonight because of what I've heard. Not secondhand. Not secondhand. There is a problem here. I tell you. Angela, you're right. We need to, our children, they're shamed of growing up poor. Some of them, it's not just the things. They want a scholarship. They might want to go away to study. And there is a particular one. There's a particular one, when it come on to politics, he feel that you got to go through him. I rebuke you tonight. And I pray for your exposure. You know who you are. You know who you are. I don't have to call your name. You know what you are doing. And you want to tell me that that is fine? And the rest of you know that he's doing that. And what happens, guys? These young men, they are abused, and they go and they find another set of boys that need opportunity, and they abuse them. That is what is going on. You're telling me the police knows that you are buggering boys and they can't touch you? It is the same system around them, Barbadians, that's around some of the criminals in here that are using guns, because these two are criminals. You are buggering children, you're a criminal. You are a criminal, like those boys who are shooting on the roadside. You are a criminal because our boys are being destroyed, the same destruction. They will never come into their manhood because you took it. I ask for people to pray. Stop the giggling. It's not, we're the same way how we are losing. We lost is how many young men? 22 since the year start by violence, shooting. We are losing a lot of our young men through buggery, grooming them and destroying their lives. And we think it's funny. How on earth you could be in a position of power messing with young boys? The police knows, and they themselves can't even touch you because you're protected by the same government. Red and not ready and nasty government. Yes, come for me. We're losing men. We're losing fathers. And you think it's funny. Taking the little children. Huh? Everybody can call these names. They can rattle off the names, people. They rattle them off. And these people are not held accountable. And the LGBTQ community refuse to monitor, to manage it. Refuse to hold them accountable. Because it's going to disrupt their ecosystem. There is a system. If that's how you choose, go and find big people where you don't have to be holding a hand out for anything, that they don't have to look to you for anything. Please go and find people that are of the same ilk as you, and they do not have to depend on you for anything. That's where it's a problem, you see. It's criminal. And that's why sometimes some of these overseas blogs, some of you say, oh, they're whatever. Sometimes that's the only place that people can get what's on their mind before they go mad. Sometimes that's the only place they can get what's on their minds off before they go mad. The phone line is open. Don't call if you're calling in. I'm cautioning you. Please don't call anybody's names, okay? We don't want to further victimize people. But I also want to ask a couple of you to pray. And I'm not being, listen, I'm very serious about this. You have young boys in your care. We have a caller calling. See if we can hear the caller. I hope so. Good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good night, Marcia. How you doing? Happy Sunday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so glad we can hear you. Yes, it is a great Sunday. I don't feel quite happy right now because of the topic I'm talking about.
I understand you very loudly.
Yes.
The problem in Barbados is when these things are out in the open, nobody's talking, and that is why the status quo will always remain the same. That's why her life, regardless, is in jeopardy because we don't know what STD, if you want to call it, was given. And the lawyers in Barbados Somebody should step up and put you up there and expose these things. There's a chain in Barbados that needs to be broken. There's a lawyer up in there, Gloria, man. That she was in Barbados, should be up there up front, exposing these people. That's how you change the system and change the status quo. We cannot go along, knowing, like the commissioner said, we know who the criminals are, and now we know who these people are, and nobody is getting exposed. It needs to stop. People gotta come out of the shells like you and me and speak out and say, hey, we know this, we know the court systems and the political system is corrupt, but it needs to be exposed. If they're Christians and they believe in God and the right and truth, they need to expose these things instead of saying down in the round shops and drinking and calling names and this kind of stuff. That's why nothing will change in Barbados, because there are too many afraid people up there that don't want to go over that red line and do the right thing, but they want to go to church on Sundays and beg God forgiveness. Have to be exposed to make change in Barbados. Everybody knows everything, but nobody don't know nothing. Marcia, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling. The caller is so right. The silence, the culture of silence. Yes, Jacqueline, I agree with the caller. The culture of silence, and is what I'm saying, that we've got to step up and stop skinning our teeth and thinking it is so funny. Yeah. Right? Thinking it is so funny. And now it's a Computer Misuse Act that they're using to, and you can clearly see that is what that red and ready government is using. They have decided that this is the way that they're going. That according to the Nation newspaper, that particular individual who is part of the red and ready government could go to the police ahead of time to threaten someone with the Computer Misuse Act. This is a sad thing, folks. This is a sad thing. Whenever you see those things, it's not, you've got to stop and you've got to pray for the country. Pray for our boys. I'm very concerned about our boys. So it's either one way or the next. Those is either crime or is this. Either way, their manhood is gone. What are we going to do? What can we do? What can we change? What about the young ladies? The stories are out there. You all know them. They're particular people in very, very, very high positions who are using their positions of power to prey on young women. And if you talk about it, they say you are you're discriminating against gay people. Well, police yourselves. Police yourselves. You remember when that video was going around, and the video that we saw was implying that Kothawala, is that his name? The young man was implying that the cybercrime bill, this is what it came out to us, my opinion from watching the video. It seemed as though he was saying that the cybercrime bill was supposed to silence people from speaking against the MPs. Can't you see that that is what is happening? And I tell you something, if you can't see that we need a change of government, I don't care if they just got in. I am telling you, this is going to get bigger and bigger. This scandal is going to be scanning. This is gonna go. I am telling you now, I'm speaking it. I'm speaking it. That's why the devil didn't want me to come on here tonight. I won't even tell you what happened to me, but I'm here. Huh? You in this party and you in that party, you helping, you there and there and there, and you decided to go wherever you can get whatever you need to get. Because it's all about opportunity. Some of you, you're in those positions, you know you're not qualified for them. You're not. But you know what you had to do. There was one of them got a big lofty position, and in about a week, one of those boy toys got mad, and they sent around and they sent it to me, a picture of his private parts. And he's a big lofty position person, but his private parts all around on the internet. I didn't share it. It's private parts. One of those boys that he got mad, got angry, and sent his private parts all about. Is that how you want to live? And we are to be bowing and who and give you all these titles? Are you doing this nastiness? Find your age. And I know you are going to come for me because it's a big group of them. Right? It's a big group of them. And once you start to speak like this, trust me, I am telling you, be prepared. It is Sunday, May 13th at 9:48 p.m. I'm telling you, they will not look into their community and say, you know what Mrs. Weekes is saying is really true. You know, we need to protect little boys and allow them to make their decision if they want this lifestyle. They won't say that, you know, they're going to say, I'm attacking the LGBTQ community. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. I guarantee you, they're going to do that to me. You're going to hear that some story make up. They're going to do something because they are very organized. They're very organized. And now they're connecting with the lodge. Some of these young people in that same story in the nation got groomed, got involved in that, and now in the lodge. So their lodge brothers and their lodge sisters.
Yeah.
I call her just turn down. Good night. Their lodge brothers and their lodge sisters are protecting them.
Push it down, boo.
Okay. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good night, Marcia.
Yes. Good night. Good night.
I'm going to be very short tonight.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to be very, very sincere. This problem that you're speaking of is way deeper than you think.
Mm-hmm.
This actually originates in the schools. This is how deep this problem goes. That is why the cybercrime bill was brought. There were incidents in this country where there were serious repercussions from these things.
Explain without calling names.
There were a situation where a member of the media was killed by one of these youngsters because of this same institutional problems. This thing goes deep, 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 and deeper than you think. What you are seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. Barbados can tell you of these things that was been happening for a long period of time. This is how people rise to the occasion. This is how people become big. Not because they're brilliant.
If you're brilliant and you're not involved, you're not brilliant. You can be brilliant, but not brilliant because you're involved. And this is why these things come to this stage, because there's a saying, what is done in the dark must come to the light. This is a situation of what was done in the dark coming to the light. And there are many, many occasions and many more occasions. And this will always be the occasion in Barbados, because this is how the foundation is built, not on solid ground, on sand.
But tell me, you said something about the schools. Can you go back to that without calling names or mentioning?
I don't want to go too deep into that because it will cause a lot of repercussions. But this is what happens because it starts from the school. I saw some one-side pedophiles. You're not born this year, so you can't become it. And two men can't make a child. Two women can't make a child. So this thing has to be continued from an early age so that these repercussions can happen. This is how it goes. What you are seeing isn't yesterday or the day before. And if you follow the trend, you will see that it wasn't yesterday nor the day before. That's why people say, remember me. Because birds of a feather flock together. You are a brilliant soul, but you're not connected, so you don't go anywhere. But if you're a connected soul, you're already well to travel. You can have a good night there. And a blessed night, because this is what happens.
Yes.
This is just a tip of the iceberg. Many more going to happen, many more going to come. Because, like I say, what is done in the dark must come to the light. And right now, these are the dark days in the country. So there's going to be a whole lot of light. Have a blessed night.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Judith said that from the blogger's post, do you mean the nation, the young man doesn't strike me as a young innocent guy. Sounded as though he was well versed. So what I'm saying to you, the parts that you don't see and that I know, I am sharing with you that some of the characters in that story in the nation, they were groomed and buggered. Okay, so what they're doing now is what they were exposed to in politics. So that's the connection, Judith. Hi, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Yes, I would love to say a blessing like that. There's nothing blessed about the night or after hearing all this darkness going on in this country. And my name is Jordan Hall, and like and positivity to everyone.
Good night.
And also you, Marcia Weekes. But my main concern is that Barbados is a whole government allowing a lot of sodomy, which is going to is abomination of the country. So basically, whoever is the holiness government is guilty as the deceiving government. I believe that everybody should hit the street, protesting no confidence in this government, so that all these ministers can stay sat down. Because the Barbados party is doing too much darkness in this country.
Well, can I say that my understanding is that it's not just they're in government right now, so they're using the power. This government people, there are people in the government that's using power, right, as a means to groom people and to get them to where. But it's something that's right across society, right? Just let me just say that. And as I said, this grooming thing by the LGBTQ community, it spans party. It's not one party. It's just that they are in power. You see? But go ahead.
But the God's truth now, right? This government, mostly I realize that want to be too much Americanized We're going with this homosexuality, and this lesbianism, and etc. But people need to wake up on where this was going on. They said about the Christian nation, we are not a Christian nation no more. We become a Luciferian satanic country right now, and it needs to go and be flushed out. Because, check it from me, it's going to cause more crime, and it's going to cause more disasters, and it even will cause a riot. Because everybody about the same.
Yes. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Well said. Thank you.
Okay, a blessing to you.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Judith is saying the person, in my opinion, has it written all over him. What we're talking about, Judith, I don't know when you joined the conversation, but we're talking about how boys are groomed and how young people who want to get into politics and want to make it in Barbados, whether it is in communication, whatever media, entertainment, politics, what they have to do, especially politics. So what we're talking about is it's a system and how it affects that boy who that is not their intention, but because they want to make it before they know it, they are involved in that. But that's not what they set out to do. They're just ambitious. Yeah. Thank you for those who called. It's 9:58 and somebody's saying to pray. And I agree with her. Yeah, that grooming policy, because all of that, it is what it is. It is created so that children will be able to, boys will be able to wear long hair and do all of that and be able to express themselves as transgenders, all of that. It's a preparation. You understand? I know that the word grooming has to do with how you dress, right? I understand that, but I'm also saying, right? Yeah. So, folks, that's all I have to say. Nobody else is calling, so let us say a prayer until tomorrow night. And I do have some more things to uncover. I'll determine whether I'm going to do it tomorrow night or not. I have it created and I will wait, to see. But let's pray, and we see you again Monday at 7. I know it's a sobering thing, but the next time you see these things, it's not something to just be gossiping and laughing about. It's a serious thing. Father, I pray right now, Lord, for our children, our young people, our young adults, our young boys, our young boy children, young adult boy children, young girls. There's so many things there that want to pull them in so many directions. Lord, we ask for your protection. We pray protection over our children from those who seek to want to groom. Some parents who know and they turn a blind eye to it because they want their child to succeed. They want the young man to succeed. They want the young woman to succeed. They turn a blind eye to it. I pray for forgiveness to those parents as well. And Lord, I pray for full exposure in this country from the very top, those in power, from the very top right down to the last person. Those who are in situations that they are feeling like they're even sex slaves. They can't say no. because of the information this person have on them. The person have a grip on them. They're trying to move out. They can't. Their job is connected to it. The position is connected to it. Dear Father, I pray that, Lord, you will help such a person. They might even be listening to me right now, that they will feel like they have a way out. Dear Lord, I just genuinely ask you, Lord, to help them. In your name, amen. God bless you all, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Okay? Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Dave. Thank you to everybody who joined tonight. God bless. Bye-bye.